at home plate with Jason Miller from Baseball Manitoba. Jason, thanks for joining me this month. Very important time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's baseball registration month.
Yeah, that's right. We got online registration through Ramp Interactive is open on our website, baseballmanitoba.ca. It's how to register guide on there for people that don't know what to do or what region they're in. They can figure that all out on the website. Lots of associations have opened it up already, starting now, and some are just well on their way, and they'll be open in the next week or two.
So this is baseball registration for all ages, correct? And it'll have a know how to, like you said. And most important thing is the catchment area, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's really important that people register their kids in the region where they reside. So we've clearly defined our boundaries, and those links with PDFs can be found on our website as well.
So if you're new to baseball and you're thinking about getting into spring registration, how important is the gear? What gear do you need, and making sure it fits properly?
Sure. I mean, that's a very common question for parents as they get their kids involved with baseball. Typically, the association is going to provide you with a uniform and a hat, or Baseball Manitoba does that for the younger age groups like Rally Cap. But players will need to show up with some proper fitting shoes. Running shoes work fine if they aren't at the age 10 to 12 where they're going to be buying baseball rubber spikes. And then a baseball glove, of course, you would need. Most people buy themselves a bat, but that's certainly not necessary. Teams and associations typically have a few bats for every team. I think that's all you need.
You mentioned rubber spikes. Very key, because cleats with metal have been canceled for quite a while.
Well, metal spikes are allowed when they turn 14.
Okay.
So 13 and under is rubber spikes, 14 and above is metal, is allowed.
So key important message there is just keep it with the rubber so it's safer for everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
So we also have some coaching nominations that are going through right now, interview process. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. We have going to be running 8 provincial teams this season. So we started our application process over the Christmas break. We held interviews just recently this past weekend. And we'll be starting to name our provincial team coaching staffs in the next month or so. It's really exciting to have 4 female and 4 male provincial teams, all going to national or Western Canadian events this year. We had to generate a lot of interest from people applying for the jobs, so we're very excited.
We also, you think of the off season, you think it's kind of a downtime, but it certainly was a downtime when it came to rules and regulations for Baseball Manitoba, Baseball Canada. I had to write one of them down because I didn't understand the abbreviation for it, which we'll get to: the bat to ball coefficient of restitution, which is the bat rule change for this upcoming year. Can we talk a little bit about that one?
Yes, for sure. So it's a pretty big change, and Manitoba is the only province in the country making this change right now. It's basically to allow metal bats, -3 metal bats at 15U AAA and 18U all classifications, so AA and AAA. And the acronym that you're looking for is BB Core. So every bat that's made that's -3 metal has a BB Core stamp on it. You can't purchase one in North America that doesn't have that stamp on it. So we're trying to educate our people and make sure that they understand that they're allowed to use metal bats. These bats perform a lot like wood bats, so the safety aspect is still there for the players. What it's going to do is make the sweet spot of the bat just a little bit bigger, creating more hard hit balls. Not harder hit balls, the balls will still come off the bat just like they do wood, but more frequently there will be hard hit balls. Which we think will create better hitters, pitchers, and fielders as the game speeds up and there's more action.
So it's a plus for the batters. Now you think the pitchers are going to have a bit of an issue, but we still have another rule change involving pitchers and pitch counts and the frequency they can pitch. Let's talk about that one.
Sure. So, Baseball Canada has put forth some new changes regarding pitch count. The one that really affects Manitoba is the fact that pitchers will be able to they have threshold where, say for a certain age group, if they hit 35 pitches, they have to stop or they have to have a whole day's rest. So oftentimes we would see pitchers being changed in the middle of at bats because they've hit that threshold. Now what's being allowed is for the coach to declare this will be the pitcher's last batter, and he or she can pitch 36, 37, 38 pitches to finish the batter and still only be marked down for the 35 threshold. So it basically is allowing pitchers to pitch to finish a batter and still only get marked down for the threshold that they just passed. We hope that this will speed up the game. We'll have less pitching changes, and it'll make the minor baseball game a little bit more like the game you see on TV and higher level baseball, where you don't see pitching changes in mid at bat. It's just not something that's done in baseball, and our pitching rules kind of were making coaches do that and changing the game a bit. So we think this rule will have a lot of positive effects.
I was looking online. It was talking about the emergency pitchers where they would have it up to 5 pitches to come in the middle of a bat. Is that correct? And then having 8 pitches to warm up once that pitching change was done. Is that still in effect?
Yeah, that specific rule is going to be really enforced at national events this year, so it doesn't really affect Manitoba that much. But yeah, so at the start of an inning, a pitcher is allowed 8 warm-up pitches for the first inning, and then 5 pitches for every inning after that.
Okay, so we talked about the amateur, we talked about nationals a little bit, we talked about provincial coaching. Very exciting time at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. The second Canadian player, Mr. Larry Walker, got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Derek Jeter was a second. We won't talk about Derek too much, but I mean the fact that Larry finally got in, how important is that? As well as seeing Justin Morneau and John Olerud getting into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame for being a role model and seeing how baseball is progressing and taking care of its veterans and showing how great Canadian baseball still is here in Manitoba and in Canada.
Well, it's incredibly important. I think that especially for Larry Walker, him getting into the Hall of Fame it's about time, to be honest. I can't believe it took this long, and there's a lot of people that can't believe it took this long with the numbers that he put up throughout his career. So we're all very happy for Larry, and as far as the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, seeing guys like Justin get into there, maybe one day he'll get into the Hall of Fame too. But and then John Olerud as a very proud Toronto Blue Jay player. So kids seeing Canadians get into the Hall of Fame and have them on the world stage like that, it does mean a lot for our sport. It gives kids the impression that they can do something like that too.
Now, obviously, you and I would agree on this next comment, saying that Larry should go in as an Expo. Do you think he will go in as an Expo, or do you think he's going to go wearing a Rockies jersey?
I think he'll probably go as a Rocky, but we know that he's proud of being an Expo and being a Canadian. So no matter what jersey he picks, I'm sure Expos people will be a part of it and be proud of him.
At home plate with Mr. Jason Miller. Thanks for joining me, and we look forward to seeing some of those nominations being put online. Baseballmanitoba.ca is the website where all the information will be put, correct?
Yep. Thanks a lot.